Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to WMRE Radio live from the AMUC. And today we interrupt your regularly scheduled heavy road programming to bring you an interview with a very special guest. Today we are joined by singer, songwriter, pianist, actress as seen as Dune, Twin Peaks, and the critically acclaimed film As Some Long Legs. We're joined by Alicia Witt. Alicia, how you doing today? We appreciate you taking the time to join us.
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Doing much better now that you're here with us. So like I said, one more time, we appreciate you joining us here at WMRE. Um, and before we get started, Tuesday, December 3rd, Alicia, you will be dropping I Think I'm Spending Christmas with You. Um, so definitely be on the lookout for that. But just to start
Well,
off, Alicia,
actually, it's out. The whole album is out
it's
in
out.
the world.
Okay,
It's
I
out in the
stand
world.
corrected. So as a matter of fact, go listen to that right now because that album is
Yes.
out. My
It's
apologies.
9 original tracks, three traditionals. I cover Oh Holy Night, the first Noel, and I'll Be Home for Christmas. And then there's 9 original songs as well. And the whole thing is out right now wherever you listen to music. And the signed CDs and vinyl are also available now.
So definitely make sure to, and where can we go find that? The signed CDs and vinyls.
The signed ones, I am offering the signed vinyl both on my website, aliciawittmusic.com, and also on Amazon. So
Okay.
we're currently here at the vinyl plant. I'm signing them all, and then they're going to shrink wrap them and they will be available out in the world. It's a special double vinyl because it's too long of a record to put on just one 12-inch regular size. So it's a 12-inch and then also a bonus 7-inch. And I figured why not make it extra special and sign it? So that's
Why not?
how the first pressing is going to be. All copies of it will be signed.
That's great. That's great
And
to
then the
hear.
CDs are available on Amazon. There's signed ones on Talk Shop Live, and there's regular ones on Amazon and on my website also.
Definitely. So definitely be sure to be on the lookout for that. And I think just touching on the aspect of Christmas music as a whole, it's definitely especially given your background coming from horror films and acting and theater, it's definitely an untraditional path to end up with the Christmas theme. Obviously, you have experience in the past with Hallmark films and Christmas music, but I just think first and foremost, I think myself and the people want to know what is it a specific Christmas memory or just what is it that brought you down that path to making Christmas music and films and such?
Making the Christmas music primarily came from having gotten into the Hallmark Christmas movie world. And that happened just through one movie called A Very Merry Mix Up, which is still my favorite of all of the ones that I did. It was the first one. I just was offered it as an independent film. And it turned out really well. And it became a big success for Hallmark. And then year after year, they started offering me a Christmas movie.
Mm,
So even though the rest of my career was much more horror, sci-fi, and various other genres, the one thing that I would always do at Hallmark was this Christmas movie. And it became a yearly tradition for, I think, 8 years running. So what an unexpected blessing that was. And then the first year I made that Christmas movie, I I found myself making 3 Christmas movies. That was 2013. And I also made a Tyler Perry Christmas movie and I made one for Lifetime. So I wrote a song called I'm Not Ready for Christmas as a bit of a joke and not thinking I would ever necessarily release it. It just made me laugh. Because when people started asking me November or so, are you ready for Christmas? My answer was, heck no, I'm not ready for Christmas. I've been celebrating Christmas all year. I've done nothing but Christmas movies. I'm not ready for Christmas. So I wrote this song. And then to my surprise, my next Christmas movie the CEO of the network at the time asked if they could use that song as the theme of the movie, and then they also wanted to change the title of the movie to "I'm Not Ready for Christmas." So a whole new audience became introduced to my music from that Christmas song. And then other movies, I started writing songs for those. And with all of that, as I played shows, no matter what time of year it was, people started requesting the Christmas songs. And I've been asked when I'm going to release a full-length Christmas album for many years now. So this has been bubbling in the back of my mind for a while. And I knew at Christmas last year that this would be the year I would do it.
Hmm. What about this year made it feel, was it something about this year that made it feel right, or just you just felt like you were ready for it, or
I felt all of those things. I felt very ready for it. Um, I had some songs that I really liked that were either partially written or completely written that I wanted to record that I hadn't already recorded. And I had the inspiration to write a whole bunch more. So many of the songs on this album were written while the tree was still up last year. So it is infused with Christmas spirit. And my co-writers, who I wrote some of them with, came over to my house and lights are still up. So it was still very Christmassy. And
mm,
then just looking at my schedule, it looked like I had a window where I wasn't going to be filming. I was fortunate enough to find the studio I wanted, the engineer I wanted, the musicians. We just lined it up, booked it months in advance, and it
Christmas
all
miracle?
worked out perfectly. Christmas
Christmas
miracle.
miracle.
That's exactly what it was.
Christmas miracle. That's great. That's great. And you did bring up earlier that that balance between the Christmas, the holiday genre with balancing that with the sci-fi and horror genre. Obviously, as people know, this summer, you started in Long Legs, a dark, eerie horror film. And now you're here just a few months later. And we are talking about, I Think I'm Spending Christmas with You, obviously a rather cheerful, loving holiday centric project. So was that difficult for you finding that balance between working on both and, so close to one another, and just kind of finding that balance? And how do you work to achieve that?
The thing is that 2 points. I love going back and forth between whatever genre I'm working in. For me, this is why the life I have suits me so well. I love variety. It's why I love acting and music too. I like exploring different genres of music. So that that makes me happy. I know that Christmas is a very important time of year for me anyway, and I love it. I'm one of those people that listens to Christmas music all year long, anyhow. So that is as much a part of me as the part that loves to explore the darker side of human nature.
Mm,
And also, Longlegs was filmed last winter. So even though it only just came out, I'm actually almost at this moment, almost 2 years away from having filmed it.
mm,
And I would say that if I had to jump into recording the Christmas album right after Longlegs, that would have been a challenge.
mhm. So you
The
think,
song that came out of me right after I got home from filming Ruth is called Always Tuesday. And there's a lot of Ruth in that song.
mm, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you feel that that gap in between filming and recording the album was beneficial in terms of finding that balance.
I think so.
Mm. And
Yeah.
going back a little bit earlier, we did read about your time playing at the Beverly Wilshire in LA. Any crazy stories or notable encounters with patrons of the hotel from that experience?
Oh, so many, so many. It ran the gamut from really well-known people like George Burns.
Hmm.
He came in. he was sitting there with a whole table full of friends. He was by far the oldest at the table. He was about 95 at the time,
Mm.
and
Wow.
all of his friends were like 70, and you could just barely see his head above the table too because he was kind of short. And I played Young at Heart for him on the piano. Um, so many musicians and actors and people that were also just plain characters. Like there was this fellow, I still have this folded mouse that he made me out of $3 bills. He
three
turned
dollar
$1 bill into the bottom of the little, it was this little octagonal box. And then he made a tiny top for the box with another dollar bill. And then this tiny little mouse out of a $3 bill and put it in the box and gave it to me.
Wow.
And he used to come in all the time, and he wasn't a celebrity. He was just a guy that frequented. He wasn't very old, and then I learned he died in a shooting accident on a gun range.
That that's
And
crazy.
yeah, so he I'm grateful I had that little gift from him.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
another fellow who, for whatever reason, really wanted to hear Elvis songs. And he had deep pockets because every time I played one, he would put $100 bill on the piano. And it went on like this for about 6 songs. And I thought, my goodness, I'm just paying my rent for the next
I'm gonna
month
be
right
rich.
here. This is great. I'm going to keep on playing Elvis. And
Yeah.
then the host of the room, who was very, he was lovely, but he was very stern. His job was to make sure everything went smoothly. It's a very high end place. And he came up to me in his suit and he said, I realize not everyone is handing you $100 bills, but you have to stop with the Elvis.
No, that's definitely go. That's definitely good. But if it was making money, if hundreds are coming in,
My
not to keep.
goodness.
Um,
Yeah.
but we just got one more for you before we let you go.
Okay.
Obviously acting is a craft that intensely involves embodying someone else, while songwriting is something that tends to be more personal.
Mhm.
And just going back to the that topic of balance and navigating contrasting spaces. Um, how do you find yourself navigating that contrast? And do you ever maybe even find one influencing the other in certain ways?
Yes, I find, first of all, just as you said, making music is so much more personal because, and I love that about it because for better or for worse, this is my music. And I'm really proud of it. I feel like, especially with this Christmas record, which I produced, I oversaw every single detail of this album. There's not a note or a bar in any of the songs that I didn't choose every aspect of. So if you love it, then I'm really honored. And if you don't like it, well, that's okay. But I take full responsibility because it's mine.
Of course, of course,
When I make a movie, obviously I'm just one piece of the puzzle and I can deliver a performance that I think is the right one. And the director might feel that's not what he's looking for or she's looking for in that moment. Um, I was just working on a movie in Vancouver, and the director and I had talked quite a bit about this one scene. And when she and I were working on this scene, it just kind of took on a life of its own as we filmed it. And I truly can say I have no idea what version of it's going to end up in the movie, which is as it should be. It's not my
yes,
movie. And if she's happy and she got what she wanted, then I'm happy too. And
of
I
course,
my job now is to not think about it too much and just
of course.
trust, you know. But yeah, they do influence each other. I As I mentioned, that one song, Always Tuesday, I think was a direct result of having just played Ruth. It felt like I was communicating to Ruth and she was still coming out through me a little bit. It's a very dark and very cathartic song about forgiveness and understanding how painful somebody else's life was and
mm,
finding empathy for them.
mm, mm.
Um,
And that's really great that the two can, even with so much contrast, that the two can still influence each other, and you know that you can embody the characters you play not just on the screen but to an extent through the music. But
yeah, there's a lot of examples of that actually. Lots of songs I've written that might be somewhat influenced by a character I just played.
any that
And
comes off off.
well, let's see. Yeah, oddly, there's a song called New Word that I wrote years ago. It's one of my favorite songs of mine. It's quite simple, but it expresses the idea that when you really fall in love with somebody, and it's the relationship that we all dream of, that we hope will find us one day. Suddenly you might wish you hadn't said "I love you" to so many other people because you want a new word to describe this feeling, because now you know this is what love is. And I wasn't in a relationship when I wrote the song, but I was working on an episode. Weirdly, I think it was CSI Miami. It was something so not detailed and gritty and that, a fleeting 2 weeks out of my life. But the relationship my character had with her husband in it, something about that resonated with me. And I had this idea. Their partnership was twisted, but as someone that wasn't in a relationship at that moment, I loved the idea of writing from the imagined perspective of someone that was. And over the years, that song has come to mean a whole lot to me. And people have told me they've played it at their weddings and stuff. But truly, that weirdly, that I don't even remember the character's name. It was just her relationship with her husband that really inspired me to write that.
That's great. That's really great. And once again, Alicia, I want to thank you for taking time to come join us today. Um, I think I'm spending Christmas with you out now, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever else you stream music. Um, and you will be coming to Decatur on December 8th, no, at Eddie's Attic. So
Yeah.
definitely, that's real close to campus. Eddie's Attic, about 15-20 minute drive away. So if you're in the area, definitely make sure to pop out, show face. And
Well,
yeah,
likewise, if you would like to come out to the show, let me know and I'll put you on the list.
I appreciate that, and I do believe that WMRE will be sending over a representative. So we definitely appreciate that. Um,
Fantastic. Thank you. I love playing Eddie's. I think might be my fourth time there.
mhm. Great
And
venue, real intimate, real, but also like spacious enough to really let everybody do their own thing. It's cool. It's nice for sure. So.
yeah, I love it there. I can't wait to play there.
Most definitely. So that's going to be a great one. So like I said, if you're on campus, definitely make sure to pop out to that December 8th.
Will
And
do.
one more time, Alicia, thank you so much. Um, and we will be bringing you back to your regularly scheduled Heavy Row content. So one more time,
Hmm.
Alicia Whit.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Gabe.
Thank you.